Okay, now you're good.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. And let's go ahead and call our special meeting of Whatcom County Fire District 4 Board of Commissioners to order at 2 p.m. today. Prior to going through our agenda and what we're going to cover, I would like to go ahead and just real quick get a quick roll call for attendance. Dave Hanson, Whatcom County Fire District 4 Commissioner.
Harry Andrews, Commissioner 4.
Mark Land, Commissioner.
Chris Parks, Administrator, District 4.
Jason Vanderbean.
Joe Quinn, attorney.
There we go. All right, everybody. Chris, can you just give a quick cover of the agenda for today, since I didn't have one in front of me?
The agenda is a levy lid lift, the interlocal agreement between the City of Bellingham and Whatcom County Fire District 4 concerning the use of the Britain Loop training facility, and the election of a new board chair.
All right. And I'd like to go ahead and kind of switch the order. So we move the election of the new board chair to the top of the list. And on that, note, as we know, it's been an interesting, quite exciting beginning of a new year here. You know, we go from one type of situation with COVID, and we're still dealing with that, to the direction of where the fire department is going and the fire service. I want to make it clear, I believe everybody does understand that I've made the decision to resign my position with the District 4 Board of Commissioners. And I do it with some mixed emotion, but quite honestly, when I took this seat, it was to really see that we move forward together with the formulation of a regional fire authority. I believe those are the regional fire authorities are definitely the way of the future and the way the fire service needs to go. And I do not feel that I was sitting in my position as a chair, that I was in the best position to help continue that move forward. I definitely support the regional fire authority concept, or support the regional fire authority potential that could possibly still be there with District 21. I don't know where that lies. But I don't think I would do it any good sitting in this seat as a commissioner. I believe that I can do a much better job supporting both the local 106 and the firefighters, the rank and file of that group, the citizens of Whatcom County, and the citizens of Whatcom County Fire District 4 as well, serving as a public advocate for the regional fire authorities, and as well as the citizens of District 21. So again, effective at the end of this meeting today, I will be resigning my seat on the District 4 board. I will again, I have some other reasoning for this, and that is definitely that I did not anticipate the amount of business that that's coming towards my company, and my other commitments to my other responsibilities has definitely expanded way beyond what I could have imagined. That's including taking back one of my companies, and so there's many of reasons, none that really make matter. The thing that matters is that that we go forward, that you all go forward in the right direction. And so on that note, what I would like to do is make a recommendation or make a motion that we select a new chair today. And I believe that, and based on my discussions with Commissioner Andrews at many different times, I would like to make a motion to nominate Commissioner Land to step into the board position. And if there's, I don't know, any discussion or any second on that. Commissioner Andrews.
I'm here.
Do we have a second on the motion then?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? It'd be aye. Mark, I assume is aye. You getting railroaded, huh? So
Yeah.
on that note, officially right now, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Commissioner Land, and he would assume the role of our new board chair. And as I stated at the end of today's meeting, I will officially have concluded my business with Whatcom County Fire District 4 as an elected official, and will assume a role as a citizen, supporting you in any way, and Chief, any way that I could support you. I've always had very, very strong feelings of the job you do, very supportive of you, and that will never change. So,
Thank you.
Joe, as our legal staff, I appreciate everything and all the support you've given me during this time, as well as everybody. And without saying, Chris, you've done an amazing job, and you've been very, very helpful and supportive to me. And I'll be there in any way I can to ever support any of you. So
Thank you.
on that note, I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Land, if that's acceptable.
Okay, well, wow. 6 weeks ago, when you and Harry were interviewing me for the interim spot, if you would have told me that 6 weeks from now I'd be the chair of this fire district, I would have told you were crazy. Yeah, well, and actually, Chris, before I forget, on that vote, I would like the record to show that I abstained. I did not vote yay or nay for me to be the chairperson. Well, Dave, when I saw that letter of resignation that you sent to a few people over the weekend, that draft, I was really sad to read it. You've given so many years to public service, and your knowledge, your skill set, your energy is greatly appreciated, and it's going to be sorely missed. So I, for one, just want to thank you for your service.
You are.
Well, okay, I guess I've got the ball. So back to the top of the agenda. The first item was the levy lid lift. I was not part of putting that part of the packet together. Was somebody going to kind of facilitate that discussion?
I assumed that Dave would facilitate it. I sent him all the information.
Uh-oh.
I can
Since he was the
facilitate
board
it too.
chair.
Yeah, Joe's here, so maybe Joe would do it.
As the draftsman, I tried to accomplish what I thought you wanted. And so the resolution is sort of standard in my office, but every lid lift is a little bit different. And in this one, you didn't want to go to $1.50. I was told that pretty clearly, that the draft therefore says $1.45 in the first year. And it is a 6-year, multi-year lid lift, like most people do nowadays. And it provides for, and you don't have to do it this way, but it provides for what is very typical, a limit factor in years 2 through 6 of up to 6%. And so instead of the 1% of increase year over year that we sometimes call the Iman initiative, it allows you to go back to the old 6% increase that we had when I started as a prosecutor 30 plus years ago. And so that is something we had, maybe people don't realize that, but that was in the law that you could increase by 6%. And that's an increase in the revenue, the dollar figure, not the rate, not the assessed value of the district, but the actual revenue figure at the end when you calculate it out. And it limits your growth. As you can see, what happens is inflation sometimes exceeds 1%, doesn't it? Inflation in wages that you're paying indirectly, inflation in fuel, inflation in a lot of things. Jason could probably tell me more what items go up more than 1% a year. but many things do in our society and in the fire service. And the 1% increase is never quite enough. And another thing that happens over the years is that whether you started at $1.35 or even $1.50, when the assessed value of the total district goes up more than 1% per year, based upon simple math, that compresses your rate from whatever it was down. And yours has compressed all the way to 82 cents per thousand, which is not very much really in today's Western Washington fire world. And that's why, irrespective of what you do in the future, whether you're a standalone district, whether you contract with District 21, whether you contract with Bellingham, I don't care what you do, your property tax rate can't stay at 82 cents per thousand and still deliver quality service. So you need to do a lid lift. And that's why when I was asked to do this one, I did it the way I did. It's pretty typical, not unusual at all. I like to kind of get an estimate for what the difference is. So sometimes I put in there something that Chris and I took out. She wasn't comfortable with it, and it might have sent the wrong message. And that was this. I like to say, if you don't approve this lid lift, we're stuck at 82 cents per thousand, maybe even less. And the total take in revenue would be approximately X. You can kind of calculate that because you have a pretty good idea what the total AV is in all the property in District 4 in your boundaries. So you can take that number, and then you can take what the number would be if you took that same AV and you multiplied it by $1.45 or any number, but $1.45. And that difference is several $100,000, you see. So I like to put that in the resolution, but Chris and I talked about it a little bit because she was worried that that might send the wrong message. And that message is, wow, this is a big tax increase. And it is. I mean, it will be in the first year a significant tax increase. You might call it more of a reset. You know, we're kind of stepping back and resetting what we think it should be. But in any case, she got me to agree to take that out because it sent the wrong message, and that message might defeat your whole purpose in getting a lid lift approved. So that's not in there. But most of the things that are usually in there are in there. It's a pretty standard lid lift proposition. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, but basically it follows the law. It follows RCW 8455-050, which tells you how to get a lid lift enacted. And an important thing is that it says that in the last year, that dollar figure, whatever that dollar figure is, not the rate, but the dollar of the levy, is your floor. That's your base for calculating presumably the 1% in the following year. That's the limitation we're alluding to. So that's an important fact. You can't leave that out. If attorneys leave that out, they're committing malpractice, in my opinion, because it could revert back, and you don't want that to happen. You want it to be the floor. And so there aren't a whole lot of options to talk about. I suppose you could have considered a temporary lid lift, a one-year lid lift, like a few clients have done in recent years. And I think that's just because they're afraid to do a six-year lid lift, that it might upset their voters to say they're going to lift the lid, and then for 5 years thereafter, they're going to increase it by as much as 6%. Doesn't mean you have to do 6%, by the way, Mark. I don't know if you all realize that. It's when it says up to, you could look at that and you could say, in any one of those 5 successive years, you could say, well, we really don't need the full 6% increase year over year in our revenue total. Let's do 4%. So that's an important fact for you to think about when voters push back and say, I don't know if I want to approve up to 6% increase every year from 2023 to 2027. So it gives you this resolution gives you the flexibility to go up to that or less, depending on how your revenue picture and your costs look. So I think that covers everything I want to say about it. But if you have questions, I'll certainly entertain them for how we came to this language. I've got it right here.
No, that was a great explanation, Joe, for us non-attorneys. Thank you. I guess I would ask maybe Chris or Jason, because, you know, the $1.45 is kind of an important number as far as all these other numbers go. That's pretty much what all of the districts around us are doing, a similar levy, a similar amount, similar time frame. That's 21 South Whatcom. So, you know, ours isn't going to come as a big surprise to our voters when they're seeing this.
Obviously, I can't speak to individual voters, but no, it should.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Let me
Sorry.
rephrase that.
Nope.
Not a surprise to the voters. It's
Yeah.
It's
Why
when
is that?
it's when you know somebody on North Shore is calling their friend in Birch Bay and they're talking about what's on the ballot. Hey, I've got $1.45 on mine too, kind of a thing. It's I guess what I was trying to say is it's pretty much going to be consistent countywide.
Yes, sir. And more than anything, maybe not countywide, but really the surrounding the suburban areas around the city of Bellingham and where the growth is happening in the county. I mean, we're all three going to be in that mark, you know. And if I could just add something to what Mr. Quinn was saying, I was looking at historical levy rates for District 21, and in 2017, District 21's levy rate was $1.41, and in 2021, it's $1.15. So you can see what assessed valuation has done to, which is great for the homeowner. It's just hard on the taxing districts, and that's, you know, more than anything, I think that's how we've gotten here is that decelerating levy rate. So, but yes, Commissioner Land, they're going to see a unified and completely not. There was no. You know, we didn't work with South Whatcom to come up with these levy rates. It's just the cost of doing business today.
One of the things we talked about was that in the coming months, if you're going for a lid lift at the primary in August, other people might be doing the same thing. And I think I talked about this maybe with Dave Hansen too. The idea being that it's sort of a campaign. You know, you can't campaign such as you unlevel the playing field and violate the law. But let's face reality, districts do campaign. There are exceptions in the law that allow you to do certain things. And there's an explanatory statement that people can read in the voter's pamphlet. And the message that I think you should pursue, I think it was Dave that mentioned this idea, which I totally agree with. And that is that you present a united front with your neighboring districts, and you go forth and you say, our proposal to lift the lid to $1.45 is pretty consistent with the neighboring districts. And you can, if they're true statements, you can state so-and-so is going for $1.40 and so-and-so is going for $1.45 like us. And so we're all kind of in sync in this portion of Whatcom County. Granted, like the chief said, it's not going to be countywide. It's not going to be identical in Blaine or identical in the South Whatcom Fire Authority necessarily to what you're doing. But I suspect they'll be pretty close in the urbanized areas around Bellingham or suburban. And so that's why in the explanatory, I put that sentence in at the end after talking to Chris. And that last sentence of the explanatory statement says, revenue raised by this measure will provide sustainable funding for the district equivalent to many neighboring districts. I didn't want to say exactly the same or get too specific because I didn't want to kind of presuppose what District 21 might do or somebody else. That's not our place to tell them what they should be asking for. And so I made it a little vague so that it sounds like, okay, we're about the same. And that's why I don't know if this is the time to talk about the explanatory statement, but it's supposed to be written by your attorney or reviewed by your attorney. And it's supposed to state what is the impact legally of approval or disapproval of the proposition. It's not supposed to be rah, rah, vote for this. And you know, that's the place of the statement for. And the statement for and the statement against, those are clearly biased and subjective, where the explanatory is supposed to be a little bit more objective and to state what's the legal effect of voting yes or voting no. And so I try to keep it that way. Every once in a while, a client insists that I slip in something that's a little persuasive, let's say. But, you know, and we get away with it. Usually most of the county elections officials and even their advising prosecuting attorneys, they let us put some language like that in the explanatory, okay? But this one here is really pretty straightforward and pretty factual. So it was written basically by me and Chris. I think, I don't know if Dave had any input into it, because we didn't talk about it, but anyway, it's similar to what I've done in other counties, and we work a lot, as you probably know, in Pierce County and in King County, pretty much equally, in fact, with explanatory statements and resolutions for elections. And so most of the stuff that I have in my files is relating to those clients. But this is very similar to what we've been successful with in other counties with the election officials. And it's within the word limitation too. I don't think there's a problem there. It's really pretty succinct. So, but you know, you're open to, it's not done until it's done. And, you know, we're a committee of the whole, so to speak. So you are the commissioners. I'm not. If there's something in the resolution that you have questions about, or that you feel strongly needs to be changed, or the same for the explanatory, it doesn't hurt to suggest changes to either one of those documents. And this is the time to do it. This is the day to do it, I think.
I don't have, Dave or Harry, do you guys have anything?
I liked it very much.
Yeah, I have no questions. My questions are more pertaining to if you if the board decides to go forward with the levy lid lift, when does that have to go be onto the ballot by or announced, Chris?
May 14th or something like that.
Yes.
Right.
We're okay. We're timely, but we don't have a lot of time, but we're still
That's right.
timely.
I think as long as you guys are all agreeing on the direction, the resolution, and then the article, you know, I think even if you approve that today, that does not necessarily, and I don't know where things stand with District 21. I know there was some talk. I had several calls from from Ken Cunningham from the ILA. I never personally spoke with Commissioner Ansel or even Chief Vanderveen. But I know there has been some talk of possibly trying to last minute revitalize some RFA talks. Whatever you guys choose to do, I'm going to stand behind either way as a citizen or as a stepping out commissioner. But I think you guys will definitely, and I know Mark Land's phone's been kind of ringing off the hook. So whatever you guys choose to do, I'm going to stand behind you and support you. And I just don't know where that's at. And
Well, that's not really on the agenda for the special meeting.
okay.
The status of that, I mean, I've had some conversation with an attorney about that, but I don't think we should be talking about that.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to put it out there that though I felt that you guys may want to be looking at addressing that down the road. So I didn't really need an update.
Well, I guess I would suggest just to keep things moving along, and of course, we can always continue the discussion after somebody makes a motion, but would somebody like to move to approve the resolution 2021-02, which is the resolution for the lid lift?
I'll go ahead and make the motion to do that.
I'll second it.
So it was moved and seconded that we approve the resolution 2021-02. Is there any more discussion on that?
None here.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I don't know if you really need a formal motion to approve the explanatory statement or not, but I would like to know that you're comfortable with it at least.
And maybe, so my comment on that, or really only thing that I would want to highlight, and maybe I think I heard you say it might be more for the statement 4, which are more, I guess, of the what I call talking points So that would be more, maybe not the explanation, but the statement 4, maybe, Joe?
Yeah, and I don't know where you are on the committee on that, but you're right. Anything that's persuasive, that's intending to persuade people to vote yes, really belongs in the statement 4. The explanatory statement is kind of to explain what happens if voters vote yes or no. And so, yeah, if it's something like that, Mark, it probably doesn't belong in here anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm comfortable with it. I'm just one of 3 though, but you said you don't think you need a motion for that?
Well, it probably wouldn't hurt. I'd like to know that the board approved it. It has to be submitted by the district by the same deadline, I believe. And so we need to send this to the county, and we don't want a situation where somebody says, well, I never saw it, or I didn't approve of that.
Sure. So is there any concerns about the explanatory statement from Harry or Dave?
None here. I make a motion to approve. If Harry doesn't have any objection.
Second it.
Moved and seconded that the explanatory statement is approved as written. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, Joe, is there anything else we need to be dealing with that's, time sensitive, that we need your advice and input on, that dealing with this levy?
No, I don't think so. Those are the only items on the agenda today anyway, right?
I have a question in regards to that.
Yeah, I think I think we were going to talk about the interlocal agreement between the city of Bellingham.
Right.
Yeah.
Chief?
Go ahead, Mr. Commissioner Henson. Sorry.
I was just gonna ask the question. I believe if you go forward, you'll have to have a committee 4 established, and that's of citizens of the community. Is that correct, Chris?
We have to post it. We have to look for committee members. But we don't have to have it, but we have to look actively for pro and con, which we will do.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'll just
You can
throw out.
even make, like I said in the meeting, right? Joe, you can ask for members to volunteer.
That's what I was going to suggest, that Commissioner Land ask for pro and con members of the community. And
Yeah.
I've been told that can be one of your 3 ways of reaching out to the community.
Right here through this meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. How do I do that?
I think it's as simple as saying that to anybody watching that the district the commissioners have chosen to move forward with the levy lid lift, and we'd be looking for both pro and con statements, and that if anybody would like to be involved in either statement, that they could contact District Administrator Parks at 360-318-9933.
All right. Well, can I just steal your words and say I just said what you said to everybody out there listening? Call Chris if you want to be part of the process.
When smiling, so maybe that's his thumbs up. I don't know if that works from the fire chief or not, but I believe
Sure
it's
does.
as simple as that.
I will make a post on the website tomorrow also, so people have more information available.
And I'll throw out there to you guys, if you end up in a situation and you need somebody in the support for, just let me know. I'll be there to stand behind you in any format or way that you need me to, as long as it doesn't hinder moving things forward.
I think you just nominated yourself to be chairman of the pro committee.
I think that I need to.
Yeah, thank you, Dave,
about
for throwing
everything.
it out there.
Yeah, Joe, you're right.
All right.
Anyway, I
Well,
guess.
thanks for catching that. For allowing me/Jason to solicit all the folks that are watching. All right. So while we're on that note, anything else that I need to be doing that I'm not aware of that I should be doing?
I can't think of anything else. There's certain deadlines that are coming up. Chris is aware of all the things that need to be filed, I think, by that deadline or to get on the ballot.
Okay. All right. Are we ready to move to the interlocal agreement with the city of Bellingham then?
I'd say so.
Okay, and who's gonna start us off on that discussion?
Probably be me.
Okay,
So what you see in front of you is an old contract from 2012 that the city of Bellingham has been historically using the training grounds at District 4 for exchange for auto aid. We have a new auto aid agreement with the city of Bellingham, and also District 4 has taken a look at its reimbursement rates and kind of brought the reimbursement rates for the use of the training ground up to modern times. It was a quite dated document, and one of the things we looked at was the training ground should be or could be a moneymaker for District 4, and with Bellingham's increased use of the training grounds, it wasn't incidental anymore. It was becoming very scheduled and quite regular, and so Commissioner Hanson encouraged Chief Hewitt and I to come up with some sort of formalized agreement that compensated the district in some way, and that is the second agreement that you see here under proposed interlocal agreement training facility, which starts on page 25 of your board packet, or 26. And that's what you see here before you today. And it outlines $40,000 single payment reimbursement to District 4 for use of the training grounds. I'm trying to see. It's for the use of Building D. The main room, Tuesday through Thursday is what it's supposed to be. It says here Friday, but it should be Thursday. And then one office in the main administration building for housing the countywide paramedic training program. So what's happening in the big room is the paramedic didactic or classroom portion of the paramedic class. Countywide paramedic class is happening in the main classroom there, Monday through Thursday, or Tuesday through Thursday, sorry. So that the reimbursement is for $40,000 for 2021 for Building D, the big classroom, and one office in the main administrative building.
Can I ask you a question, Jason?
Sure.
And did we not put something in there if there were an RFA passed that would have to be renegotiated?
Yes, it should be in here.
Just the fact that we were trying to respect the RFA and not negotiate on behalf of.
No, I have. So number five talks about. You can see there number 5, paragraph number 5 discusses what if we form if District 4 forms a regional fire authority during the life of this contract, the city agrees to meet with the new entity to discuss the agreement. So it would be revisited at that time.
And all right, I'll wait for questions. Or no time to comment.
This kind of related, but a little bit of a rabbit trail. How often do we historically reevaluate the rates that we charge for these facilities, regardless of, rooms, towers, whatever? How is that is that looked at and evaluated annually or every 5 years, or what do you guys typically do?
I believe, now we reviewed it last year, I believe in November, Jason and I.
Yep. And
before that, I don't have the exact date, I want to say 2016.
Somewhere in there.
2016, yeah.
Okay, so where I was going with that is the foundation to come up with that $40,000 figure is a fairly current, fair market value kind of an ask.
Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but you went back and looked at their historical use, and then we applied kind of the the updated rates to it, correct?
Yeah, I took a look at it and I based it on the new rates and used 2020 numbers. And I think the usage would be about $57,000 for the training grounds outside. And it would be about 23,000 with the current rates for the use of the large meeting room.
I think if I remember correctly, you also looked at comparables across the state and other areas of what the training ground rates were. Am I correct on that, Chris?
Yeah, Jason and I did that last year.
Yeah.
And then we changed the rates to the current ones.
And Commissioner Land, this is also exclusive of any live fire. Any live fire is extra. This does not cover unlimited use of the live fire facility or the live fire burn cell. So if Bellingham elects to use that, they have to schedule it and pay. That's an additional fee for that. Some is captured by District 4, some is captured by 21 for employee costs, but the facility costs go to District 4.
So, and before now, or before this proposed agreement, the arrangement in the past was just facilities for auto aid. And it was just, there was no money changing hands. This is the first time we're actually basically billing them.
Yes, sir.
Not exactly.
Anything above beyond live, or as Jason had just explained.
Yeah.
Yeah, we bill them for the live fire, but I didn't see that in the new agreement. So
I have a recommendation, and it may not hold water. I may be, and let me know if I'm out of line, but I would say based on the recent happenings, one is me stepping out, but one is the not knowing right this minute anyway what's going to happen with the RFA vote, or the decision to go forward with the RFA or not. One, the decision if you're going to go to ballot for your own lid lift and what you're going to do, how that would be addressed. I would make a recommendation you do not sign this agreement at this time, just due to the sake, if you end up going for your own lid lift and that's the only bargaining chip you have for working with negotiating a new agreement, possibly with anybody. So I would strongly look at that. The training grounds are something the taxpayers of District 4 bought and paid for over the last 20 years. And if for some reason you guys don't come to some type of an agreement with District 21, and then if you do come to agreement, it's then District 21, even regardless if it's a contract for services or however it was, or if you chose to do that with the city of Bellingham, that is the only negotiating really the valuable tool there. And you're kind of probably have to have that to negotiate some type of a deal. So that's just my thought. Once you give that up, it's signed over. With the RFA, we'd be protected because Jason's red line 5. It's all good and fine and done. But if there was no RFA passed and you go for a lid lift and you've signed off the grounds to that training ground, truly for making a negotiation agreement for services, let's just, even though I know it doesn't sound like South Wacom's interested, but if they were, or if you chose to go to them and try to negotiate, offering that facility and those training grounds and that whole meal to somebody else is really one of the only bargaining chips you have.
Harry?
I had a question. Was there not some discussion not too soon ago, but just fairly soon ago, that we were going to have the city base a crew and an engine in our facility? And we were going to do that and use that to give them a better break on the use of the training facility. I vaguely remember us talking about that.
No, you're correct. And we had the meeting, and we did meet with the mayor and Brian Heinrich, the deputy administrator, and Chief Hewitt last week. And Chris Parks and I attended that meeting, if you remember. it's really hard for the city. I mean, it's so easy for somebody, even myself, to sit back and think, oh, this is so doable and it would be so easy. But it isn't just that simple and easy. One thing is they're very supportive of their labor rank and file and the labor, and they look at that. The other is that if the city were to come in and take that station over, that would put them out of what's called the span of control. And Chief, help me out if I'm wrong in any area, but that would take them out of the span of control, meaning they would have to add another battalion, and that would be additional 4 battalion chiefs, an additional 4 captains at a minimum, and because they run captain platoons, and then our engines, and then that would mean. And it's not as simple as thinking just 8 new firefighters. Ken Cunningham helped educate me as well. And very understandable. You would probably be looking at 10 to maybe possibly 12 firefighters because you have to have that back coverage. So if the city were to do it on a contract for services, that would be what would happen. One area that we looked at is maybe they could move around their station response areas, or who knows, maybe, and I'm not going to use any names because I don't know how their system's set up, but any districts, station locations. But if they were able to just move a station, we'll just pretend they were able to take everything that happens out at, is it 34 out at Gooseberry? 31, 34, that station all the way out there. And they were able to move that crew over to here, fill this station. That station would be, they close one, open one. That would work for them, but they can't do that. And Chief Hewitt, who I have a lot of respect for, and he is very much a realist. I always say Jason's transparent and Hewitt's pretty realistic on this stuff. He's run the models, and I can only take him at his word that it doesn't really look doable for them. The only thing that they would possibly be able to do is if we came out, it would cost about $3 million a year, easily, but $3 million a year at that number for them to completely come over and staff a new battalion. And that was the number. But the mayor and kind of directed Chief Hewitt to take a look at it. Said he didn't do that. He said they were going to talk. I want to make sure I'm really clear. They were going to discuss it to see if there were any options, and they were going to get back to us. So now that is something I would ask Commissioner Land and Chief Vanderveen would probably want to follow back up with them just to see what that discussion entailed. But I walked out of there with not a real promising feeling. You guys would have to look at, when you lift the lid, you would be up over 3.2, 3.3. You're going to have money, even if they started a new platoon where they have a new battalion, I should say. You still have to have money to upkeep your grounds and probably have an employee to oversee your play landlord and do all the other things. Even though you probably wouldn't pay 3.3 million because there's other exchanges for service and funding, such as the GMT ambulance transport service, where they would pull revenue. There is some other things that they would pull revenue off of. It would still cost you probably about, if I were the city, I would imagine they'd come in and say somewhere about 2.7 million. Is that what they'd have to see from you? But I think Chris and I both left there with the feeling is they're having a really hard time with the city right now, trying to figure out how to keep funding some of the things they have. And for them, do they want to make a major commitment to another county fire district right now? And even though Chief Hewitt was very clear, and even the mayor understands that District 8 really, it's an important, they play a station, I think it's station 31 in there, but they play a very viable, important role. They're definitely not, it's not a freebie to the city by any means. And the city may even look at it as they're having to supplement District 8, but it's not that way when the mayor and the fire chief, and they all look at it. District 8 is really supplementing the response to the city of Bellingham. And I believe that would absolutely be the same case here. And we are right now supplementing, the response to the city of Bellingham via the trade for services. So that's a lot to look at. And it's why my head's been spinning a lot, and I need to really focus on my businesses.
So is this it's a 1-year deal for 2021?
I think it rolls over. No, it rolls over to the next year unless we terminate. And it will have only a 3% increase in the amount.
Well, I mean, I get what you were saying, Dave, and I appreciate the points you were making about, the bargaining chip and strategy and all that. I guess the other side of that, just playing the devil's advocate, is I guess I'm to the point where if we are, worst case scenario is we're somewhat on our own for the rest of this year, and this is more of an operational thing, so Chief, help me if you need to, but it seems to me that at a minimum, we would want the assurances of the auto aid agreement. If things were starting to unravel.
This has
nothing to do with that, Mark.
To do with auto aid. Your auto aid agreement's safe. This has nothing.
Okay. Somehow I thought they were connected.
It was at first, and since there's kind of been, gosh, I don't know what the right word is, but there's kind of been a senior auto aid agreement that overtook the other one. So there was initially an auto aid agreement for the training grounds. District 21 has now signed an auto aid agreement, like just a raw auto aid agreement back and forth based on staffing levels. And since Station 12 and Station 69 are staffed at a certain level with a company officer and 2 firefighters, we have you have that auto aid agreement.
Okay.
This is just raw. This is just for the training grounds.
Okay. So even that aside, honestly, I like the idea of governments, working together. And if this is going to benefit our bottom line, and it's going to benefit the city of Bellingham and their firefighters and their training program and that bargaining unit, honestly, I'm leaning towards it's a good idea.
And I think actually I didn't understand on the that's a reoccurring every year. I thought there was a length of years on that. Well, sure. I think you can easily just have a simple little clause in there too. If it's only a year, that means at the end of 2022 or whatever, or even 21. Well, it eventually expires. You have that ability to say, hey, we can relook at this. So that's not quite as fearful as I was thinking. And definitely, Mark, I think I have to agree with you. That training ground is so important to this county as a whole. It's the only real true fire training grounds we have for any of the firefighters in this county. And we never want to see that jeopardized. Yeah,
Harry, do you have any thoughts, Harry, on just, your thoughts on the proposed agreement?
Not really. I go along with what was said.
Yeah, Jason.
Two things. Just live fire. I just wanted to point out in paragraph number 1, live fire. The last 2 sentences kind of cover that the right to access and use does not include cost of consumables or staff time for live fire events. The city has to provide and supply its expense, consumables, those kind of things. So it does memorialize that live fire is a separate event.
Okay.
Also in number 5, it does give kind of the boilerplate 120-day prior to the end of renewal, get out, Now you have to know, you need a crystal ball, of course, to be able to predict what's going to happen in 120 days. But I suppose worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, you're looking at, you'd have it for a year and a half, right? I mean, you could, if it stunk so bad you could hardly stand it, you could get rid of it in 2022.
And Jason, when you were talking with Bill about it, the Bellingham Fire Chief, I mean, he liked it. He thought this was a good idea.
It's a start. Both of us recognize that it's a start.
Okay. And Joe, have you had an opportunity to look at the language and
Not
review
really.
it?
No, not really. I haven't been digging into it anywhere near the degree to which you have today.
Well, I mean, what's our custom? Is our custom to have, you know, our attorney review stuff like this before we, you know, actually make a decision on it? It seems like that would be the prudent thing.
Yeah, I had thought we'd had that done, and if we had, you're right, that is the prudent thing to do. It was a pretty solid agreement, and for the 90% of it, I was very supportive of on it. Even Chief Vanderveen and I beat up on Chief Hewitt a little bit to push him for a little more, and it wasn't just a simple walk in and say, sure, we'll just do that. So I think it was scrutinized pretty good. Joe, though, again, it'd probably be a wise decision to have the attorney look at it.
Well, let me make a suggestion then. Maybe we could actually table a decision, but we sort of, it seems like the consensus is that we would want to move forward with this proposed agreement. You know, we'll have our attorney give it the once or twice over, see if there's any concerns, and maybe we can put it on the agenda for our next meeting to make a decision on it. Does that sound reasonable?
That does to me.
I'm good with that. Not that it matters.
Okay.
Okay.
Was there anything else on any of those items? Anything else for the good of the order? I think we've hit the agenda items. All right. Well, again, Dave, thanks for your service. You're going to have pretty big shoes to fill. And now at least I can feel free to give you a call whenever I want and, you know, talk your ear off.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it right. So that's good.
I hate to state the obvious, but you have a certain amount of time in which to fill a vacancy. I hate to talk about the vacancy when the body is still warm, but you will have a vacancy as of about 3 o'clock today.
Yeah, no, that's.
The board has to fill that, and so if you have questions, we deal with that a lot, and it's easy to do. There are some best practices, and then there are times when you don't have time to go and do it the perfect way. But basically, you're supposed to fill that position. If you don't do it within a certain time, then it defaults to the county to appoint a commissioner. So you don't want that to happen.
No, I think we'll get that process going here again. And yeah, be mindful of our timeline and get this board back up to full strength again sooner than later. All right, well, if there's nothing else, could I entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn today's meeting. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting
Thanks,
is,
everybody.
thank you.
Yeah.